Hey everyone, the time is currently 10:30 a.m. I go to work from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. and I'm feeling pretty good. Let's get around with the update. So, I checked my weight today and here's something hilarious. It's the exact same weight it was yesterday, 175.2. I suppose that's better than rapidly going down or rapidly gaining, but I gotta be honest with you, I really want to see those pounds go down. Well, after inspecting my weight, I suppose we can go with what I ate from yesterday to today. Let's do that. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, I already said yesterday I had the bacon cheese, it wasn't bacon, it was salami, cheese, and scrambled egg burrito. It was alright. The burrito was better this time because I didn't overcook it. Then, for lunch, it was quite a smorgasbord. It started out with a yogurt smoothie. It contained Greek full-fat yogurt, some blueberries, not allulose. It was the other one, xylitol, there we go. And some ice and cashew milk. Pretty good. I then had a meat burrito with 0 carb tortillas from Mission. Pretty good. Only one though. And then I had a keto ice cream bar. Even though when I first had that bar, I did like it. I have to admit that having the same flavor every time I want to have an ice cream bar and it being a bit on the caramelly side, I'm getting over. I want something a bit fresher now, like mint perhaps. Well, for dinner, we didn't really have anything. If I can remember well, when I got home, man, I had a A&W 0 sugar root beer and some vitamins, and I think that's about it. When I woke up this morning, after checking my weight, I really wanted some egg bites from Starbucks, but I didn't want to buy them there because I was worried they were going to cost a bit. Instead, I'd rather get ingredients from the grocery store, make a whole lot of egg bites, so when I wanted one, I could just dig into one and eat it. So that's exactly what I did. I looked up a recipe and apparently the egg bites use eggs, cottage cheese, Gouda cheese, and bacon. So I got all that, and when I got home, I got started. As I was working, my mom was doing some finances in the living room. Everything was going smoothly. I put all of the ingredients in a blender. I blended it just enough to where it was mixed well together. I put the egg mixture in silicone muffin cups and I poured hot water on a pan, and I thought I preheated the oven pretty well to what it was supposed to be, the toaster oven. But when I put the egg bite mixture with the bacon in, it was very unclear if it was something that was working, because even though I preheated the oven, when I clicked the start button after setting the temperature and the time, it had the word preheat at the bottom. I really don't know what that was about. It was very strange. I was so confused, I asked my mom if she could figure it out, and she was having as much trouble as I was. It took us like 20 minutes to figure out how it worked, and by then the egg bites were already done cooking because I had put them in there after I was done mixing them with everything. So, I mean, I guess the oven was on the whole time while we were trying to figure it out. Pretty interesting. And the verdict, they were a little weird. The very top of it was kind of, I'm not gonna say hard, but a little, well, not tough, but sort of like a soft tough, if that makes any sense. The bottom of it, just underneath the surface, was decent though, I would say. It was kind of like a Starbucks egg bite. The top did have sort of a slight overcooked eggy taste to it that I wasn't a fan of. Overall, I'd give it like a 7, maybe a low 7, maybe a high 6 out of 10. It kind of got the job done, but it wasn't something that I'm going to repeat. I think the reason why it came out that way was because I didn't know what I was doing with the oven, maybe. And maybe I left them in a little longer than I should have, but I couldn't have done that because I was constantly taking them out and poking a fork in and then taking one out and testing it to make sure it was the perfect consistency. So I just think maybe cooking them in that toaster oven air fryer thingamajig might not be the best idea, but that's just my opinion. I got carried away with that. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the food I ate. Well, anyways, let's just move on with the daily update. Here we go. Well, after recording my update video yesterday, I decided to go and edit it on InShot. And by edit, I mean put it through the AI edit, then rewatch the entire video, seeing what the AI cut out, and keeping what I liked and deleting what I didn't like. And then I added an AI video in there that I made with my mom and my sister. It was very silly. It was me riding a golden zebra and then jumping in a bowl of cereal in the zebra, basically throwing up milk into the bowl. It was bizarre, but I looked so happy while doing it in the video. Very strange. Well, anyways, after I was done putting the whole thing together, I put it on my YouTube channel. Now, normally I like to filter out the sound because I noticed there was some loud sound in the background. Or normally I put on my little microphone, but I didn't do that because I gotta be honest, I was being pretty lazy. After putting it out there, I realized that I wanted some coffee with a xylitol sweetener and some milk, so I made that. And then I watched a little marathon of 2 back-to-back Matt McMuscle videos, a YouTube channel that produces a series called What Happened? A show that documents extremely troubled productions of shows, or movies and video games, and why they fell apart. And 95% of the time it's usually upper management's fault, because they think they know better than the creative team, and they ultimately put too many cooks in the kitchen, and they put unreasonable demands on the crew, and ultimately you get a half-baked product as a result. Yeah, it was pretty insightful. I was watching one for Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, and the other one was about... Gosh, what was the other one about? I already forgot. Well, anyways, after watching that, I realized I hadn't edited my video yet. So I decided to do a full hour of editing on my YouTube video, and I did that. No push-ups in this video. So after finishing that, I realized that I needed to use the restroom, probably because of the xylitol. So I did that. And afterwards, I needed to take a shower, so I took a shower. I got dressed, and then I left for work. Now, when I got to work, I was feeling like, all right, let's do this. I normally am in a more like, woohoo, cheerful mood, but yesterday I was in a, all right, here we go kind of mood, like, gotta do this. I realized that when I have a long period of time off and then I go back to work, like 2 days off, and then I go back to work, I feel like I gotta get in work mode now, here we go. I do find that strange though, because when I went on vacation to the Grand Canyon last year during Christmas, after that 5-day vacation, or actually it was I think a week-long vacation, I felt refreshed and reinvigorated when I returned to work, and I was ready to do it. So maybe it just depends on the context or how long the days off are, or I don't know, but all I know is when I returned after having 2 straight days off, I was like, ugh, here we go again. I know I shouldn't have that attitude. I know I should be more positive, and I usually am more positive. But for whatever reason, I was just not feeling it yesterday. Well, yesterday was pretty crazy. I think the first hour was doing front end, second hour lot, third hour front end, and then fourth hour lot. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Well, how was the first half of the shift? Fine. I mean, I was mostly quiet. I did what I needed to do, and my overall vibe and feeling was determined and straight to business, I guess you could say. Yeah, pretty much it. Well, I punched out for lunch, and a funny interaction happened I had with one of my coworkers. He asked me what I'm gonna have for lunch. I said, I have no clue, maybe a yogurt smoothie. And then he asked if he could come to my house for lunch. And I felt a little uncomfortable about that because I don't know why, I don't know. I guess I don't really invite people over. I mean, maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe I should. But it's just something I'm uncomfortable with. I consider myself very much what's a good way to put it? An introvert, I guess. And I really just for whatever reason, was very uncomfortable with the idea of inviting a coworker to where I live. I guess, I don't know. Maybe it's just I have this lunch thing. I want to focus on that. And also there's like people at the house, and like if I were to have lunch with someone, personally, I'd rather do it like at a restaurant, and like so I wouldn't have to worry about cooking the food. We could just like order off a menu and then like talk and hang out. So we wouldn't have to worry about going there, then having to scrounge up food and then mixing it all together and then, you know, having it good to go. And then, yeah, it was just too much for me to really be comfortable with, I guess you could say. Well, I told him that, and he was like, all right, that's fine. So I went back home. I had my lunch, and as I was eating, I remember my mom was inviting a construction worker over to check on the project we've been working on. She wanted to get a bid from the guy to see if his bid was competitive with the other bids she was measuring out for the room, specifically the electrical plugging in. He's someone I've known since like I was in my mid-teens. Yeah, he seems like a friendly enough guy. Well, anyways, after having my meal, I left back to work. And the cool thing about work today was that I had 3 closers. Normally we're given 2 closers, but I had 3. So that helped lighten the load quite a bit. But the strange thing was that one of the closers wanted to take out the trash after I was done putting it all together. I mean, I accepted it. I thought it was fine, but I just thought that was an interesting thing because I signed myself to trash. The thing with closers who are the last ones to leave the store is that they make the schedule and they decide what everyone who is within the 3-hour bracket of closing must do to close down the store. And he wanted to take out the trash. Interesting thing about trash is like not all the trash is taken out until like near the end. Like you have deli take out their trash, meat department take out their trash. Sometimes the deli has their trash hanging out in the front or in the back, and I feel like the need to take it out. And I guess that's what I wanted to do. But yeah, he took out all the front end trash, but when he left, of course, the deli had their trash, and I felt the need to take it out because it was like sitting right there. And also, I hadn't taken out the office trash yet, which was later, like after the store closed, so I quickly took that out along with the deli trash. Man, closing was busy yesterday. It was a lot of people and a lot of work. Like, it was constant customer influx. And the thing was, I was doing a lot at the time, and I believe I brought all the cards back, but then near closing, when I was doing go-backs and checking to make sure the store was empty, and then doing the produce blinds and wiping down all the check stands, when I punched out, there was a few carts that were out in the open. But I was so preoccupied with doing all my other closing tasks, and I brought all the carts in near the end of my shift, like around 10:30, that I was spending that time doing the rest of my closing chores. So it was a lot of work, and when I saw those carts after punching, I was like, well, I already punched out. I can't do work off company time, so I better go. But I did feel like bummed out that I wasn't able to do everything. But yeah, it was chaotic. Well, I left for home, and when I got home, I decided to... One of the things I really enjoy doing when I'm by myself and it's late at night and I'm listening to something to listen to, I really enjoy listening to a guy on YouTube go through people's trip reports, which are basically reports of people who've done hallucinogenic substances and describing what they see or what they felt. And I find those stories very fascinating. I don't do any of that stuff, but I do enjoy hearing people who talk about it, because I just think it's bizarre that people's brains and minds go to such far out places when they, experience that kind of stuff. And, seeing the world through their eyes is very interesting and compelling. Now, I don't condone the use of any of that stuff at all, but it is kind of interesting to watch it on the sidelines, I guess you could say. Now, while I was listening to it, I was taking my vitamins, I was drinking an A&W zero sugar root beer, and I brushed, well, actually, I gotta be honest, I didn't brush my teeth yesterday. I don't know, I should have, but I didn't. And the reason why was because I hadn't eaten anything sugary. So, I mean, I know there's still bacteria, but yeah, something embarrassing to admit, but that's what I didn't do. And in order for someone to improve, they need to be accountable for what they did or did not do. So, there you go. But yeah, took my vitamins. I at least swished water through my mouth. I was so tired after work that I genuinely felt like I had no energy to do any of that stuff. So, yeah. And I was listening to this sound, this binaural beat sound, to see if I could maybe have a lucid dream while listening to it. No dreams. It was an interesting sound, but overall, I didn't get any effects from it. So, yeah, nothing too crazy to report there. When I woke up, at around 7, I used the restroom, then I went to check my weight, 175.2, the same as yesterday. I went to the nearest store to pick up some bacon, cottage cheese, Gouda cheese, eggs. Yeah, went back home and made those egg bites. Then I decided to watch a Nintendo Partner Showcase Direct because I was curious what games are in store for the Switch 2, because that's a device that fascinates me mostly because it would be like releasing like a PlayStation 4 in the modern day and age. I guess the gimmick though is that it is a portable device that helps make it more compelling, but it is interesting to me to see developers try to downscale their games to work on such resource constrained hardware and see if what they can do with it. I just think that's fascinating. But after watching that, our family friend came. I said hello. I had a coffee with a xylitol and the milk. No issues yet, hopefully none for the rest of the day. And then I realized I need to make my update video. So here it is. Thank you for watching. I'm going to do an hour of editing now after I'm done quickly editing this video and getting it out there. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody, and goodbye.